Hi, welcome to homelessness in Shoshone County. Today I want to talk to you about homeless issues and the idea I have about um, creating this page and different ways of thinking outside the box and how to maybe, come up with new ideas of how to how to help the homeless or how to end the homeless and poverty issues. So stick with me as we try to cover some big ideas, and all I am doing want to do is just cover the ideas, and maybe someone else can take the ball rolling. So if we don't think poverty is an issue for all of us, it that's gravely mistaken. I mean, half the world. I mean, so it's not just a Shoshone issue. Half the world is does live in poverty, and if you don't think that's like a big deal, it kind of is, because if you look at the issues behind poverty and the fear it creates, um, that makes us sick. I mean, you may not think that. How does poverty make you sick? Oh yeah, you don't have the money to buy the good food. But it's more than that. It's how we think, and how we think creates blockages in our system. So um, I was writing a book called No More Band-Aids, and back in 2013 when I was doing research with the WHO, World Health Organization, I think it was 90% um, of the world get that. And today I read it was 95, so I don't know, one of those statistics, but still 90 or 95% of the world is not sick, and only 1 in 20 people are healthy. Doesn't that blow your mind away? And I'm going to tell you, I'm one of the 1 of 20 who's healthy. I'm not on any medication. And I'm not sick at all. And then out of that, 1 in 5 or 1 in 7 has a mental illness or a substance abuse. So this is huge. Now, can we tie this back to poverty? You can and you cannot. But currently, let's think about this. Our governments are ran on gross domestic production. We have an economic society, and so when we have an economic society, it's all about growth and how can we make things. How can we create bigger societies? So. And it starts really small, right? So we have quite a few businesses in Shoshone Valley, and yet the average person in Shoshone, I'm not sure what they make, but a majority makes $8 to $10 an hour, and I think the average is probably a little higher than that. So if and then these companies, are actually making quite well. They're doing quite well for themselves. They're making a lot of money, and so or even not even Shoshone, just companies in general. So these companies, these CEOs are making millions of dollars of bonuses a year. Isn't that insane? So how much bonus is coming down to the little person, to the laborer that's in the company? Not very much. But what is the company doing? So if you're a private owner, what are you doing? Well, you may be taking that money and going on vacations, but most likely, what a lot of people do is they take that money and reinvest, because that's what you do. We are in an economic society, so how much bigger can I get? How much more money can I get? Because it's all about, me against you. And it goes on to governments, right? Our governments are like that. Can I be a bigger, more successful economy than this other country? So what would happen? I mean, what would happen if we just change that idea, that instead of putting economics first, that we put people first? We try to make, I know it's going to sound cliche, or you know but if we put people first, make happy societies and invested our money that way and into greener societies, where we have more trees and green space, what would that look like? So and I'm saying this because I got to thinking, if I'm making $8 an hour, I can't get anywhere. So, my friends may be living in a house, but I can't do that because you know, someone else who's making a lot of money is now bought off all the houses. And so at my $8 an hour with this company that I'm working with, and it's now buying up all the real estate. So my once, affordable, little apartment at $400 or $500 a month, it's now gone up to a couple thousand a month. And this is not a joke. This is how it works, right? Because one person is starting to really buy up all the real estate. All the real estate that I was hoping at one time to be able to purchase just down the road, but just couldn't quite get there. Not at $8 or $10 an hour, right? So, and then I'm always hoping I'm going to get a promotion. I remember back in my 20s, I wanted to be a cook. I know it sounds funny. So anyway, I was flipping hamburgers somewhere in Scottsdale, and they promised me a raise. They promised all of us a raise because it was just open up. And when it finally came through, they gave me like a 25-cent raise. I just practically laughed in their face and quit the job. I mean, there is no way for me to get promoted or even to make a living just a little bit above minimum wage. and and if I was to stay, that just wasn't acceptable. How do I pay my bills? How do I pay for rent? How do I pay for electricity? I can't even own a car, right? Because at eight or $10 an hour, with $700 to $800 a rent, that's 2 to 2.5 weeks out of the month just going to rent after you take out all your taxes, and then if you get insurance, all that stuff comes out. So it's almost 2.5 weeks. So that just leaves me a couple extra dollars to sit there and freeze in my house and buy food. So it's really hard. So all this fear and anxiety. So what does that fear and anxiety do to us, right? Fear and anxiety can create blockages in our system. And this is what I believe why so many people are sick. I mean, it's just crazy. We have technology to keep everyone healthy, right? But are we healthy? Well, no, we're still stuck on technology, right? So if you have heart disease, or if you have COPD, or diabetes, or mental illness or anything like that, what's going on? Well, you're stuck on something. You're stuck on a breathing apparatus, or you're stuck on pills, or you're stuck on pills to help your heart pump, or pills to, I don't know, to reduce your high, you know what I'm talking about. So we're not getting healthy. We're just put on something, and we are grateful, right? I mean, now I'm grateful that my diabetes can be controlled, or my heart disease can be controlled because now I'm on all these pills, right? So I should be really grateful. But they haven't actually made me healthy because now I'm relying on something in the system, right? So this is and why do we do this? Because it's an economic system. They should have a way, and we have a way. What they don't teach us is that our bodies are fully functional to cure themselves. They really are. But the problem is that when we are raised with fear, or we are raised in poverty, we don't know the right ways to really heal our bodies. We build these blockages, So if you don't feel like you're as successful as you need to be, and even though you're pretty successful, you probably still have something wrong with you, because honestly, 90 to 95% of the world is sick. So, where did that come from? I mean, why do you have it? Did you ever think like that? Why do you have that? Why? It shouldn't be there, right? Not to me. Why can't they just heal your heart disease, right? Why do you have to be on medicine for the rest of your life? Controlling your blood pressure. I mean, that to me is really crazy. And so if we put people first and really go after these issues, and make happy societies. I know that sounds really kind of strange. What would that look like? When we go to our grocery stores, I mean, this is how sick we are. This is an economic system. It's like three quarters of the grocery stores is filled with processed junk food. And yet, we are told to ingest it. It looks good. It tastes good. We get actually addicted to it. We're addicted to salt. We're addicted to sugar. We're addicted to the junk that's in the junk food, into the processed food. And we think that's good. It's, we don't have time to cook. We don't have time to make anything fresh. So what do? So make our lives easier, right? Is that really true? Do you not really have time to prepare dinner? I mean, there's so many things that you can prepare that's fresh, that's easy to do. So it's a mindset. we just live in this mindset, and it's really hard to say, to think about it, because it's really hard for me to say, oh, we shouldn't have an economic based society no more, because your mind goes, whoa, what the hell does that mean? We've been raised in it, we've been living in it for thousands of years. So how do we get out of that? So there's things coming down the pipeline, free energy. Free energy is something that's coming down the pipeline. We can install that. What would that mean? That we're now not paying for energy. I mean, is someone going to get scared? Is it going to be chased away? Is it just a dream? Sci-fi? I don't think so. We're living in 2020. These thoughts have to change, I can't sit there and it can't be the haves and the has-nots. It can't be that you paid your dues by not going to college, and so you get to suffer. It can't be that way no more, because it's just because that type of mentality thinking doesn't just stop. Because once you have a business and you become successful, then what do, right? Then you start competing next to your next successful competitor. I mean, it doesn't stop. And how far do you want to go with this? I mean, I'm not saying all businesses are bad. There's a lot of really healthy businesses out there, and it needs to come more to the forefront where they value their employees. They make their employees a little more valuable than the business itself. I mean, it's something that we should be really thinking about as we go forward in 2020. 90 or even 95% of the world should not be sick. Not with the technology we have. To me, that is insane. And if you're one of the 20 that's never been sick, congratulations. I mean, that's a huge feat. So I'm turning 60, and I've never been sick. I've never taken medicine. Never. So, and then when I go to a doctor for a checkup or whatever to make sure I'm okay, that's a surprising statistic that they're almost alarmed. What? You're not taking anything? Well, let me see if I can fix that. So it's just something. It's just something that we have to do. That thinking has to change. So it's the me versus them mentality just doesn't stop. You can start at the first rung, and then as you move up the rung ladder, it still doesn't stop. I mean, for some of us it does, but there's a lot of companies, right? And if your company's successful and now you're buying up all the real estate and you're not treating your employees any better, who's going to be living there? Where are all these employees going to go who can't afford to live here anymore because they're only making $8 or $10 an hour, and real estate's gotten really expensive because one or two people really own the whole little city. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's just a weird way of thinking about it. That's all. When we make the gross domestic product a priority over people, then things happen. And I believe poverty happens because of that. I believe 90% of the world is sick because of that. I believe we have a lot of waste. I mean, this can go so far as garbage. I mean, just look on our grocery aisles. And I'm not saying potato chips or Oreo cookies and, not to be eaten. It's just not supposed to be the mainstay. It's not supposed to be a comfort food. It's just supposed to be something you enjoy from time to time, not an everyday snack. I mean, and I don't even want to get into health because that's just my opinion, right? So, but we put people first and not the economy. Maybe unnecessary garbage goes away also, right? Wouldn't that be amazing? So poverty changes. People are healthy. And now systems that used to be really large start disappearing. If we put people first, I don't know what would happen to the prison system, right? We can't walk into people's shoes until we know what the people have walked in, None of us are born probably with neurosis. We learn neurosis. Some of us attain neurosis easier than others. Others have a more stronger constitution, and that could be, something that you're born into, and or something that's nurtured. So but we can't compare. That's the problem. We compare, and we don't accept. We don't have the compassion. We don't have the love, and this is 2020. This is the Aquarian age. This is the time for change. This is the time for thinking something different. And that's all I want you to do is to think about something different besides our gross national product. And I want you to start thinking health. You know, I'll do a segment on health. I mean, I was writing this book. I'm pretty informed on it, and it's crazy. And if you don't understand how you really get sick, then there's no way that you can really heal yourself, and that's what I'm talking about. That needs to come to the forefront. How do you get sick? Why are you sick? It's, if you understand there's a mind connection, then it's all our responsibilities, right? So when we see our doctor, the doctor doesn't put it in our responsibility to change. They just give you a pill. Oh, okay. You go see your shrink. Oh, you're depressed. Well, here's a pill. Well, they don't tell you you're not supposed to be depressed for the rest of your life. It's just supposed to be something that helps you intermittently, and you're supposed to be taking care of yourself. But they're not actually able to reach out and be able to take care of you or help you overcome those obstacles. But there are ways to doing it. There are other ways of doing it. And they're not being explored. They're not being validated. And they're not being studied. And it's something I feel should come forth and it should be studied. And it should, see if there's any validation behind it. And new methods. There's all kinds of new methods out there. It's just, where we can put our energy at. Traditional? Is it working? I'm asking you, is it working? Is this where you want to be at? Especially those that are sick. Is it working for you? Or do you want to consider a new method? Are you tired of your pills? Are you tired of being sick? Or is it something that you think that you're supposed to live with for the rest of your life? I don't think so. We are born to be healthy and happy and holy, honestly. The 3HO, it's a Connellini saying. So, to that, I leave you. Please comment. As I said, these are just my opinions. Just an idea. Nothing substantial. I just want new thoughts coming into this life, into this world, and we are so ready to receive it. We just need to hear the message. And I am not even saying I am the messenger. I'm just saying it's time. It really is time. It's time to end poverty. It's time to end homelessness. And when we end that, a lot of our illnesses, I feel, will also go away. It's crazy. All right. Wow. Thank you, and Satnam.